So Wargate wanted to know um, your opinion on not being able to inspect players in Path of Exile, and obviously is to encourage people to make their own builds. But what if players could make it an option to have themselves inspectable or not? Do you see that as a option?
Yeah, I definitely agree with having an option to enable your characters to be seen, and that would be something I would definitely take advantage of, man. It would be so good to be able to just be like, make my characters and everything public, because I'm not exactly private about my builds, and people want to know a lot about my builds and characters and gear and everything I'm wearing, and I think that'd be really cool for people to do. So I'd love to see an option for that. I'm all for options generally. When it's something that's divisive for the community, just add an option in to have it. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be forced on everyone. But I do agree with the fact that by default they're not visible, because Path of Exile is a very competitive game. There's people trying to get tops of each league, there's people trying to get tops of races, and the ability for them to keep their builds secret. And there's people who, even like today, have been using and perfecting a specific sort of build for a very long time. They've used it multiple times, and other people still can't figure out what they've actually done. Like, people have these insane builds, and they're like constantly winning things. And you know, if they're not streaming or something like that, it's impossible to know what they do. So I think that's really cool. It adds like an extra depth and competitive layer to Path of Exile that I really like.
Fantastic. Deefa, do you want to ask the question that Bermuda's...
Yeah, I can ask some questions
Sure.
here. Let's have a look. So creating gaming content, does it diminish your enjoyment of playing the game, or does it become a bit of a chore?
That's definitely something I was worried about coming into it, and a lot of other YouTubers that I've spoken to have said that is the case, especially where it gets to the point where like their gaming has sort of become their job, and that has like pretty negative connotations with it. But for me, with Path of Exile and StarCraft and Diablo, it's actually gone the opposite way. Making content about it, I stick to only making content I really enjoy, and that's why I cover less games. Like, I cover fewer games rather than covering all the new releases and stuff. I prefer to cover a few specific games that I really enjoy. And being able to make content that I really enjoy making, and being able to force myself to think about things on a deeper level actually makes me enjoy the game overall more. And I've had probably, as I said, coming into Nemesis for the first time, playing really hardcore and making much more hardcore content as well was really enjoyable for me, and I enjoyed it a lot more. So I definitely wouldn't be enjoying Path of Exile as much as I am now without the motivation of wanting to make content as well. So it's actually been a big motivator for me more than anything else, and it's definitely not feeling like a chore or anything now. What can I say? I love what I do.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I really kind of saw how you came into Path of Exile, and you still had the ZiggyD StarCraft alias, and then obviously at some point you jumped across and you dropped the StarCraft bit, and yeah, you've had some really great content there, and it's definitely been useful to refer some friends to some of your tutorials.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that too.
Learn the game. I can ask another question if unless Casey wants to.
No, you keep going with Egros' question there.
Jump in. Okay, well, apparently you've mentioned that you've got a partner before in your posts. Are they a gamer, and do they help you sort of produce content, or do they just put up with your hobby, or what's...
I bet me talking now, Amy's attention is going to be grabbed. She's actually sitting on the other side of the room. What are you playing at the moment, Ames? Path of Exile?
Yeah, I'm doing my rail runs. Is a 5-link weapon good?
A 5-link weapon is very good. Nice. She found a 5-link. So that answers that question. She is playing Path of Exile right now. That's Amy, aka Electo Blade, aka Gilbertomy, on some YouTube and things like that. And this is a pretty interesting question, actually. Like, I'm not worried about talking about this at all. Amy's actually my PA now, my personal assistant for YouTube. That's kind of been a recent development, moving into full-time and realizing that I want to answer every single comment and message that gets sent to me, but it's just not been possible. So she actually helps me by sorting out all the messages and stuff like that. She hasn't played a direct role in producing content so much, although she does kind of help me where she can sometimes, like when I do unique spotlight videos each week or whenever a new patch comes out, that sort of thing. She'll go and grab the artwork and all that sort of stuff for me and put it together, so that's like a big help. But she's been a gamer ever since she was young. I think her older brothers kind of got her into it, playing Doom and stuff on PC, and she played a lot of Dungeon Siege. And so it's kind of funny, but for a long time she didn't play any action RPGs, but getting into Path of Exile recently, I guess it's kind of reawoken what she really enjoyed about Dungeon Siege. and she plays a lot of Path of Exile now. In fact, we've been farming together with my my domination character that I've been doing for the Path of Exile Survival Guide series, and we've been doing some farming, and whenever I farm with her, I have intense luck. So if you can get your partner or a friend into gaming and play with them, you're probably going to have better RNG. I'm pretty sure that that's the case. And I've gotten some sick drops with her, including an Exalt recently. Oh, yeah.
Oh, well done.
I'll just get yelled at.
Fantastic.
You have to kind of slowly over time work them more and more into gaming. It helps if they're a gamer first, but it is possible to turn them into a gamer if they've never been a gamer before. And you just have to kind of just have to slowly introduce them, you know, work their way up, play different games and play different games with them, play some co-op games. We actually played Diablo 3 on the console for a while together, which is if you like, say what you want about Diablo, but the sickest game on console to play with your partner is Diablo 3 because it restricts you to the same screen and everything has been designed in it to make it less rage-inducing than any other game. And playing with your partner is super frustrating sometimes because I like to run off. I'm, you know, super efficient Path of Exile play pro gamer sort of thing, and she likes to take her time, so I tend to leave her behind a bit and she gets frustrated at me. But playing Diablo 3, restricting it to the one screen, and that was fun. We had so much fun doing that, and that probably led to her playing Path of Exile now, actually. So it's possible.
Oh,
I have
fantastic.
heard good things about the D3 console version. It's everything that you've just said, and it does sound like a great game to actually play, a great version of it. And also sensing maybe some future content for you where you can put out a tutorial for other gamers to get their partners involved into Path of Exile.
Yes, I
other
actually
games like that.
I did an article one time about back when I was playing StarCraft about how to get your your girlfriend or partner or whatever into StarCraft 2, and I would definitely like to redo something for that, like for hardcore gaming, like action RPG and stuff like that. Getting your partner into Path of Exile, definitely something I might make in the future. Good idea.
Just to pick up something you mentioned before about Amy and her brothers, I can't believe her brothers let her play games with them, because when I was growing up I used to hide all my good games from my sisters so I could play them by myself.
Well, I think with younger siblings, playing games generally means you stand behind me and watch while I play, and I'm sure that was the case for a lot of the time with Amy.
Oh, so
No?
addicted, like, no, I can't find that game anywhere.
Oh, holy crap! I'm actually wrong. They actually land, like they set up multiple computers and land Doom together.
No, I just ran through looking at the posters.
Ah, okay. No, well there you go.
Okay, got a question here from another member who's not online called Bemoose. So shout out to Bemoose. Similar to your endgame build with unlimited currency, but this time he wants to know what would be the best endgame class or build if you had a very restricted budget.
I'm going to cheat a little bit here and say also the best sort of build I think for leveling on a mad budget without being an endgame build. Recently Amy's been playing my Searing Bond Fire Trap Templar, and I realized that you can get a Searing Touch Star for like 2 chaos, and that is all you need to buy. That build needs no links, needs like the basest whatever gear you just find, whatever crap gear you find, and it deals so much damage that everything just dies, and she's been obliterated. She's been doing better than my like beginner's tanky ranger and stuff like that, so that's like the super cheapest one to get to endgame, but I think its endgame potential is not that great. In terms of like endgame potential for really cheap, I don't know. People like to say summoners a lot, but I've actually heard the opposite recently, that summoners are a bit more expensive to get going really strong. I really can't answer that question without saying builds that I've played myself. And from the builds, all of the builds I've played since starting Path of Exile, the recent EK Scion's definitely been the cheapest one to get to endgame and be really effective at endgame. I think even though you can buy some really nice gear for that, as long as you can just get like a 5-link, I think is the only really thing that I would really try and push to get, and you can still even do it on a 4-link. But with really no currency, you can sort of be pretty effective and pretty safe in hardcore with a very cheap sort of build. So Ethereal Knives is always a go-to sort of cheap and reliable sort of build, and that one I think has done pretty well with it too.
So when you say cheap, can we guesstimate a sort of budget here of what we're talking about? Is it 2 exalts, 3 exalts worth of currency, or
what do you actually like? Trying to strip it down to what you need for the build. I think the only thing I would say that you would actually try and spend some money on getting into maps would be the 5-link, and you can get like a 5-link for like 5-10 chaos. It could be a white 5-link. It doesn't really matter with that build. So I'd say, yeah, in terms of currency, if you can get like 5 or 10 chaos, then you'll be able to gear it for endgame. But the thing what I like to think about in cheap builds is ones that require no external input. So basically, like with that build, I was able to start with nothing in the new league and farm it up to endgame with self-found gear, and then use whatever things it found, whatever currency drops it had, to buy the gear that it needed to get and do maps. I think if you're ever going to define a cheap build, look for ones that you can do like that, that don't require any sort of bankrolling from previous characters' efforts.
Okay, I'll throw over to Crazy. He had another question on the fly here about notice. So Crazy, you want to pose that to Ziggy?
Yeah. Do you think that any specific element is weak in terms of like the range of the abilities that you can use for that element, or just them not being very strong?
That used to be the case. I think they're all doing pretty well now, actually. There's still some areas with fire that's a bit lacking. The idea for fire is that it's either supposed to have really good burns, or that it is a more reliable source of damage, and in some instances fire just, you know, I guess people that probably tried to play fireball builds and stuff like that without putting a lot of effort into really pumping out the damage of fireball, you feel like you're throwing wet sponges at enemies. But sometimes fire spells are a little bit weak, I feel. But overall, in terms of just base elements, the nerf to lightning recently probably brought them in line with the other two, and the fact that it's been brought down, I feel like they're all pretty effective now. Ice is, ice is not really about the damage. Ice is about CC, and it does really well at that, like with people doing a lot of perma-freeze prolif builds and stuff like that now. Probably even Ice might be a little bit crazy now because of stuff that's going on with Ice Mine at the moment. But that said, fire spells are getting a buff in the next patch, I believe, so that'll probably bring it more in line even there, so that's pretty cool. I think they're all doing pretty well now. In the past, certainly, though, there was some big disparities between the elements, but I think it's doing pretty well now.
Fantastic. Yes, yeah, there are some fire buffs coming. A bit of a fun group question here that a lot of people want to know, because we were talking about it the other night, is do you play Path of Exile better when you're drunk? A bit like people play 8-ball better when they're drunk.
I've never been game to get like super totaled and play some hardcore, but when I can get my hands on some nice Australian craft beers or whatever, and recently I found out someone had some like belated birthday presents for me, and I managed to acquire 4 6-packs, and this is not something that happens very often for me. Again, YouTuber budget, I'm trying to keep things as cheap as possible, so beer is a bit of a luxury, but when I can get it, I don't mind having a few beers while playing some PoE. But yeah, I've never tested the getting trashed and playing hardcore. Maybe that will be something for the future, to see if that I actually do play better or worse. I'm guessing worse though. I can't imagine how I'd play better. I think the 8-ball thing might be a bit of a different story there, since that's a pub game, I guess. Path of Exile is not really a pub game.
Yeah, this just stemmed from a conversation. One of our guild members was playing a bit drunk the other night, and he hasn't yet made it to maps, and he's complaining about always dying, and he's doing quite well on this character he's playing at the moment, but he's saying he's drunk, and he's getting close to that sort of map ready level, and we just kept telling him, look, get off now, you're drunk, don't go challenging Val or someone like that, come back when you're refreshed, don't play drunk.
Well, maybe there is something legit to that, because if you're a very nervous sort of player playing hardcore, and you're feeling a little bit like, you don't have much confidence, and you're not willing to YOLO it sometimes, you will have a very hard time progressing. And in fact, sometimes being nervous will get you killed because you won't stand and fight when you should, and you'll like try and run away and you'll get killed when you shouldn't, like life leeching and things like that. Sometimes will keep you alive better than running, and maybe he lowered his inhibitions enough to be a confident player and played confidently and played well. Who knows? Who knows?
And a quick one before we head into some sort of questions without notice. Any chance of a Brady Games PoE guide coming out with your contribution?
Well, the written media still goes pretty well in Australia. I do like the magazine stand culture here, and I guess if someone approached me, I would help them write up a Path of Exile guide. But I don't have any plans for it yet. Like the idea of like making a guide, written guide, all collated and everything, and selling it, isn't something I'm naturally against, because people like to say, that's really money grabby or really scammy, and a lot of those guides are scams. But sometimes people like to, you know, pay a few dollars to have something that is everything they want to know in one place. So I guess I wouldn't be against maybe doing something like a pro guide at some point, but certainly no immediate plans.
I find they're good books for the toilet bookshelf.
Yeah, that's true. If something really high production quality with like lots of sweet images and art and stuff in it, I'd definitely be up for getting involved in that, partnering up with someone to make something like that. That'd be sick. If Brady Games want to approach me, if you're listening, Brady Games, I'm willing to maybe do something like that.
Can I just say something? I think it would be pretty hard to do a really good guide for this game because it always has been evolving.
Yeah.
It
Definitely.
always changes, man. Like one skill comes in and it's like, whoa, let's rewrite the books.
Yeah, I definitely experienced that a lot myself. Whenever I want to keep my videos and stuff up to date as much as possible, but yeah, the amount of changes and the fact that they're constantly patching, which is like fantastic how often they bring in new content and changing things around, definitely makes it difficult. I think if I were to write a guide or something like that, I wouldn't ever include any specific information. It would be more like how to be a good player. So, as you know, as specific as I can be without it being this skill does this much damage, which might change in the future, that sort of thing.
Okay, so I'll just kick off some questions without notice here, which have sort of come up tonight. So, someone wanted to know, apparently he thinks you put on a bit of a special voice when you sign off your YouTube clips. Do you put on a special voice? And if so, how did you come up with this special voice?
Yes, it is true, I do. And this is something that developed over time, and what really consolidated was one day that someone said that, this was months and months ago, it was like 6 months ago, but someone left a comment saying that the way you sign out your videos makes me feel sexually uncomfortable. And ever since that day, I've been trying to push it slightly more and more each video, you know. Some days it might be a little bit more relaxed, but other days I just try and make it just sultry enough so that it makes some of my viewers uncomfortable. And that is the voice, and it sounds something like this. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching. Yeah.
I'm not the only one that noticed.
No, yeah, it's true. It's there. Very perceptive. I hope you felt uncomfortable.
Part of the marketing thing coming in, do you think? You know, just trying to throw a curveball in there, or?
Well, like from a technical standpoint, starting and ending your video is the same every time. As well. I guess it's not really required, but if you do something like that and then later try to change it, people get really cranky. And for a while, I stopped doing the G'day ZiggyD here at the start of my videos, and people were a little bit upset about that. So it is definitely, it is definitely a little bit of a marketing thing, but mostly I just do it because it's fun.
And Stay Classy Ray Class is already taken, I think.
Yes, I love. Who's that? Edgar Allan Poe. That one. Yeah.
No, I was thinking Anchorman. Stay Classy Seattle. Is that what he says?
There's an Edgar Allan Poe YouTuber who does something similar to that. Stay Classy Ray Class or something like that. It's
awesome.
cool. I really like his intros and outros.